Hey, Portland here from Portland Metro Records, and last week I had a show with Austin Randall, and Austin Randall has been with us for, going on about 6 years we've been working with him. And Austin Randall, he actually has a standard of music that's a little higher than most. So if he says your music is good, it's probably great. He says your music is great, you're probably amazing. And as Austin was setting up, he noticed in the crowd a superstar. And I didn't want to say anything until we got him booked, but Austin introduced me to him. And when he told me the best vocal artist that he knows, I knew we had to get him onto our podcast. So ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce you to Elijah.
Hello there, everyone. My name is Elijah Vanecek. I'm from Grand Ronde, Oregon. I've been playing music for about as long as I can remember, at least loving it and feeling it. And I've known Austin for a good amount of time now. Played music with him. Been featured on stage with him several times, so you might have seen me there. But, been writing songs now for, I'd say, about 7 years. This is a new one I wrote. I think it's in the sort of vein of the Johnny Cash style, one of my influences. So it's called The Ballad of Jeremiah Jones. His name in Montana, born and raised. His father was a whiskey drinking man, so he settled in Wyoming at the age of 17, working in the coal mines for the man. Bare and cold, and his back was feeling broke by the meager age of only 23. And most of his time was spent drinking through the night in the township of Fort Laramie. Took his soul, and his chances there were dull, till the gang of Jimmy Hardin came around, looking for a hired gun, an outlaw on the run. Jeremiah seemed to be the man, the one. Many moons had passed since he left those mines at last, and hired on at $3 every day. Well, his life was looking up. He finally filled his cup. He made more cash than he ever seen. Jimmy came to offer extra pay as long as Jeremiah held the gun that would violently put down the sheriff of a small town of Hartville. Well, Jim robbed most everyone. Himself a plan, and on the day that Jimmy said rode out west through the dust and mud. And all along the ride that day, no one had nothing to say, just the fellowship of sin and lack of good. But he pressed on through the night, and right before daylight, Jeremiah would approach the sheriff's hall. Well, old Jimmy and the boys, who were covered by the noise, would rob every store there was to rob. Well, the silence, it fell loud as his footsteps crunched the ground, and a bead of sweat rolled from his cold brow. With his hand upon his gun, well, he rose with the sun, and he drew his pistol and shot that sheriff down. No, one single shot was all, and his body, it did fall into the room with violence and a rush. Well, his wife laid out a scream, and before she could leave the scene, Jeremiah put 2 rounds right through her gut. Oh, well, his gaze fell upon the floor, his hand searched for the door, while his legs felt near too weak to run. But Jeremiah made his way to find old Jimmy and the gang, but not one familiar soul was left in town. Now the folks around town heard the shots that had put down the sheriff and his wife moments before. Jeremiah raised his hands, threw the gun down and collapsed as he saw his band of brothers on the run. On the day Jeremiah died, no one was there to cry. He was laid down as a criminal and shamed, buried somewhere in the sand are the bones of that poor man. The truth of that night died with his name. Thanks for listening.